Hey everybody, welcome to the House of Fi. I am Wendy and I am one half of the House of Fi podcast. Today we are going to be tackling a sensitive subject. We are going to be tackling depression and anxiety and how that intersects with our debt and our debt fatigue. I know it's a sensitive topic, but it's an important one. So I hope you'll stick around. I'll catch you back in about 6 seconds. All right, guys. Well, welcome back. And if you are new here, welcome to our house. As I said, I'm Wendy. I'm one half of the House of Fi podcast. We are all about financial independence for families. We want families to achieve debt freedom, to save more, and to build wealth. We firmly believe that financial independence is for everyone. All right, so let's dig in. Since we are dealing with a sensitive topic, just be aware, and if this is just not for you, it is totally okay to press stop and move on. My feelings will not be hurt, but if you want to stick around and see ways that you can address your debt in spite of the fact that you are also dealing with depression and anxiety, then I am so glad you're here, because I too understand what that's like. In 2016, I was first diagnosed with depression and anxiety for the first time in my life at age 46. And through speaking with my doctor and just really analyzing kind of my life and going back to even my teenage years, she said, you probably have been depressed your whole entire life, but you have just managed it very well. And I can honestly say that I absolutely agree with that, because I can look back and see times in my life where probably what was going on was depression and anxiety, and I just didn't know it. I think with the onset of age, as well as our life completely being turned upside down when we adopted 4 boys within about a 2-year period, and increasing our family of 4 to 8, I think that was also a contributor, as well as being in a very stressful career as a criminal defense attorney. I think all of those things just kind of converged, and then throw in the election that just kind of tipped things over the edge. But I share that because I just want you all to know that I understand that I deal with this too. And I neglected to say that at that time we were also in $1 million of debt. But I associated words with that time period: worried, overwhelmed, trapped, hopelessness, anxious, just so many feelings, negative feelings are attached to that time period, because it really was a hard time. I love my life. I love my kids. I love my husband, but it was hard, and all things kind of came to a head, and I just needed help. So I say that because I want you to understand that I understand the heaviness that debt can bring, and the fatigue that it can bring. And I want to give a shout out to Melanie Lockhart and the Lola Retreat, because we attended a brunch this past weekend put on by the Lola Retreat, and that was one of the topics of conversation was debt fatigue, which was a term that I had never heard before, but it makes so much sense. And I know that there were several people there who that word or that phrase just really for them explained what they were feeling about their debt. And I understand that. We had $1 million in debt in 2016. We've paid off, gotten rid of $650,000 worth of debt, and I'll link up there how we did that. But we still have $350,000 worth of student loan debt, and sometimes it can seem like that is never ending. And you're working so hard, and you're paying these payments every single month, and sometimes you aren't seeing that balance go down and you're tired and you just want to see progress. So I understand the debt fatigue that brings, that can also lead to then depression and anxiousness about that. And especially if you are looking to make changes in your life, or changes in your life happen unexpectedly. So what we're going to talk about today is, I want to give you some practical tools and actually usable tips that you can implement to help with that. And I think one of the first things that I would recommend is that you take advantage of automation, because sometimes we can have those dark times where we just don't want to do anything, and the last thing that we need is to miss a payment, get late fees, get overdrafts. So set everything up on automation. So make sure your direct deposit is set up. Make sure that your payments are set up to automatically come out after your direct deposit. Just set those and forget it. And you do need to come back and take a look at those every now and then, but that's kind of like a safety net for you in case there are those time periods where you're just feeling so overwhelmed by life and your debt situation that you just don't want to deal with it, and you have your head in the sand, because let's be honest, that happens. You have that safety net in place to give you some protection against your own behavior, right? The second thing is that you need to have a budget. If you're not working on a budget, then I really suggest that you get one. A budget doesn't have to be complicated, and it also doesn't have to have that negative connotation to it. Look at your budget as your way to tell your money where to go. You are in charge, and you are telling your money where to go, and it's your biggest tool you have against debt. If you need help putting a budget together, I will link up above to a budget with Wendy's that I've recorded so far, so I can walk you through how to set up a budget. I also have some free templates for you that you can sign up and get via our newsletter. Those templates are Google Sheets where you just plop in your numbers, and it will auto-populate the figures, and it will help you create your budget. I hope you find that it is helpful and helps you see where you are as far as what is coming in and what is going out. Now, that's simply not enough, though. It's not enough to know what you have coming in and what you have going out. If you want to tackle your debt, you also need to make room in your budget. And that's the third tip that we're going to talk about, is you have to create some room in your budget to tackle this debt. Now, you can start out with as little as $100 or $200. The more the better, though. But if more than that is just too much for you to think about right now, let's just start with $100. Let's figure out a way to cut $100 out of your budget. And I think the first place that you need to start is take a look at your bank statements, see where you're spending your money, because I will almost guarantee that there's wasted money there. And if there's not wasted money and you're still not able to make room in your budget, then the problem isn't your budgeting. The problem is that you need more income. And I'll have some videos later on about creating side income. But truly, if you've looked at your budget and there is really no room whatsoever to create extra room in it, then your problem is income, and you have to find a way to bring in some extra income. The fourth thing is, once you have that room in your budget, you need to figure out what method you're going to choose to attack that debt. It's not enough to just willy-nilly pay a little extra here, a little extra there. What you need to do is pick one thing at a time to attack, and attack that systematically, whether that's going to be using the debt snowball method or the debt avalanche method. Either one is fine. We opted for a multi-approach method where the first thing that we did was we implemented what we call a blitz. So we gathered as much cash as we could, and we attacked the one or two debts that we knew that if we just threw everything we had at those, they would be paid off in 1 or 2 months and that they had a high monthly payment. Because if we could get rid of those 2 things quickly or 3 things quickly, we could then take that high monthly payment that was going towards those things and put it right back into our budget and create some really quick progress. The second method that we chose was the debt snowball. Just very briefly, the debt snowball method is you list your debts in order from lowest balance to highest balance, and you pay the minimums on everything except for the lowest balance item. With that item, you take all of your extra money and you throw it at that item aggressively until that one's paid off. Once that one's paid off, you then take that money that was going towards that one and put it towards the next lowest one, and so on and so forth. Once we got to the debts with the higher balances, we switched over to the debt avalanche method, and that is very similar to the debt snowball method, except you are attacking the highest interest rates first. And the thought process behind that is that higher interest rates cost you more money, and so you're attacking those so that you're putting more money back into your budget faster. Doesn't matter which method you choose, pick a method, pick the one that gives you the most satisfaction and creates momentum and excitement for you so that you can move on from the debt. You will feel better once you start seeing some progress. And I also, just one slight note on that, track your progress. Put it somewhere. Put it on a wall sticky, put it on a chart, put it in a journal. I don't care where you put it, but track your progress, because there's going to be times where you are experiencing that debt fatigue, and it's going to feel like this is taking forever and you're not making any progress. And you need to be able to look back and say, you know what, this is what I've accomplished. This is what I've done. To give you some perspective and get out of your head a little bit. It really has been something that has encouraged me when I just feel like, this is never ending. All right, the last 2 things, just really quickly. Give yourself some grace, okay? I know that that's hard sometimes, and we're hardest on ourselves the most, but give yourself some grace, because there are going to be times when you just say, you know what, screw it, and you go and you do something, and then you beat yourself up, and it just creates this cycle. Give yourself some grace for the mistakes that are going to happen. Know they're going to happen. It's kind of like a wedding. Like, there's never going to be the perfect wedding. There's going to be something that's going to go wrong, or labor. There's going to be something that this perfect moment or this magical moment, that something's going to happen. Okay. The same thing is going to happen with you paying off your debt as you struggle with life, because life is crazy like that. So just know that things are going to happen. Give yourself some grace, forgive yourself, and move on. But don't allow these moments to be a roadblock for your progress. All right. Now the final thing is have an awareness of triggers. Okay. So triggers are either whatever it is that then stresses you out, so then you behave in a certain way in reaction to that. So for me, when I get stressed out or overwhelmed or anxious, or I just for whatever reason actually I eat. And one of the things that I'm working on is I will eat, and I'll eat in a secret. So I'll go by myself and I'll buy myself lunch, whether or not it's in the budget. Well, you do that several times a month. It's very destructive and it costs a lot of money. So know the things that either are triggered by your debt or that trigger you and then cause you to make irresponsible decisions with respect to debt. So I think it's then important to have, 2 or 3 activities that you love to do that give you some self-care, some self-love, things that are low or no cost that you can do when you're feeling those sorts of things. One of the things that I love to do is go to the beach. We're very blessed to live here in San Diego. I can take a half an hour and go just sit and breathe and exhale, and I always feel better. You could do a walk. You could take your dog to the dog park. Figure out those 2 to 3 things that you can do for yourself to give yourself compassion and grace, with an awareness of the triggers or what those the depression and anxiety triggers. I think if you have an awareness, you can then hopefully say, you know what, I need to take a break and then go deal with it. Don't let whatever it is that is triggering you lead to destructive behaviors like retail therapy. That's not going to help. It's going to compound the situation. You're going to feel upset. You're going to be mad at yourself for doing it. And then you have to deal with the consequences of spending all that money. Take an inventory of the triggers in your life that cause you to make bad money decisions and know what those bad money decisions are, and have alternatives ready for yourself so that you don't have to engage in those destructive behaviors. All right, guys. Well, I think that was about 6 tips for you to deal with your depression and anxiety when you have debt and that debt fatigue that comes along with that. I would highly suggest that if you are depressed or anxious and you have not sought help, that there's plenty of resources for you to do that, and I'll link some of those below as well. We have plenty of resources available for you too if you just need a little bit of guidance on how to get started with budgeting or laying your money foundations. We have a free 7-step money foundations course that you can sign up for free on our website. You can also purchase our Your Money 101 workbook and journal, which I'll link that down below, that you can actually write in, which I think will be very helpful for tracking kind of your feelings as you're going through this process, which is extremely, it's just a good thing to do. So those things are available to you. I'll link all that down below. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell so you have notifications of when we have a new video out. And if you want to know what's going on in the Mays household, stick around. I'll be giving an update in about 2 seconds. Bye, everybody. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for sticking around. There is so much noise going on outside right now, but I don't want to get up and shut the window, so bear with it. We're a household with children, so that's just how it goes. Well, we have some exciting news in the Mays household. My husband Curtis, the other half, my better half of the House of Fi, he has gotten a head coaching position at one of the local high schools, which is going to dramatically change our lives. I will once again be a football widow coming into the summertime and then the fall season. Always, I've been a football widow every single football season, but it's definitely different when he's head coaching. So I will be the CEO of the Mays household with no real help. Because Curtis will be MIA, but that's okay because we love football. We are a football family, and we love watching him do what he does, which is, build young, stellar, responsible athletes with excellent character. And he's a great example for that. So we're really excited about that. All right, guys. Well, I hope you all have had a great week. We'll be back here again on Friday. And I think what we're going to do for this week is we are going to update our Fidelity versus Vanguard, and we are going to see who's better. All right, we're going to do a matchup, update you for 2020. See you back on Friday. Bye.